There, welcome back to the color pencil drawing stream. So good to have you today. If you're brand new to the YouTube channel, if you're watching over there on YouTube Live, then I would appreciate it if you would subscribe. If you're on Facebook Live, thanks for being there. And if you can give me a sound check, I would appreciate that. Make sure I've got my sound turned up here. We're getting started just a little bit later than typical. So I wanted to show you. Last week I showed you guys the progress that we had made on baby Luke. So thanks, Ramona. Appreciate that. So I got that updated. And so we've got the complete drawing done now. So here it is on pastel mat. And we've got the video files now all transferred over. Should be getting those completed soon. It took a little longer than what I thought. That's usually always the case with me. It usually takes longer than I think it's going to. I'm usually very optimistic about and very conservative or liberal in my time frame usually. So, but anyway, I'm excited about getting it completed. Hey, Harry, thank you for joining. So, and Lisa, good morning to you. Um, all right. So it looks like we're good to go then if we're being heard over there on Facebook and on YouTube Live. I always worry about that if I don't hear from somebody. All right. So just a quick reminder about the workshop coming up this month. We're trying to do a brand new workshop every single month. And the one coming up this month, and it's, what is it, 3 weeks away? Something like that. 3.5, something like that. So towards the end of the month here, but it's going to be 3 days. And if you haven't signed up yet, you haven't registered, then now's the time to do that. There's not that many spots left. I don't know why, but this one is going much faster than the Baby Luke workshop for last month. I guess more people are interested in figuring out, how to depict wrinkles, which makes sense. I mean, it's it can be something that's very difficult to do, but we've also got a whole lot of other textural elements in this particular workshop. We've got eyewear, glasses, we've got gray hair. It's a little more challenging than what you may think if you just at a first glance looking at white hair or grayish hair. You may think, oh, that's easy. I'm just going to use some white or gray pencils, but it's a little more involved than that. But getting that tonal shift and then that gradation going from, creating that sensible logical gradient from where the light is hitting that side of the face and right there at the frontal view, and then towards the side plane of the head, and then as we approach the back of the head as well. We've also got earrings, so that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that, just showing this pearl. Um, you can use so many colors when you're depicting things that are white, quote unquote white in appearance. So, like I had mentioned last week, I think it was, you get $100 off if you're part of Member Circle. So, if you would like to join us over there in Member Circle, you're certainly welcome to do that. Okay. So today, we're going to go ahead and continue our drawing here on little a. And one thing I want to do is I started noticing that it might make it a little more complete looking if we put the eyebrows in. So thought we'd go ahead and tackle that today. So we're going to make sure we have some harmony in the color when we're thinking about the hair over on the left-hand side there. And I'm going to use this burnt sienna polychromos right here just to get some of this hair in place. In the eyebrows. So, and they make, they'll be a little bit darker than some of the other areas in the portrait. Eyebrows typically, are different. They're different in texture. They're often different in color. So, Shiny, how are you? Shiny is joining us over on YouTube Live. Thank you, Shiny. Appreciate that compliment. So eyebrow hair typically, doesn't follow just some kind of set pattern that is strict, but there are some commonalities. A lot of times you'll have hair going in this direction, right up here close to the glabella area. It'll be going back towards that direction or straight up. And then as we move towards, the eye, then it will start to turn or shift in direction and start to move in that direction. The whole way through, as we go across the length of the eyebrow, it will start to change direction. But then right in the middle, that's what we're talking about. But then up on top, we've got eyebrows, the hairs up there in the eyebrow come back down towards the eyebrow. So they start up here and they come into the eyebrow. So it's something that if you don't pay attention to it, then you may create something that actually doesn't look like eyebrows. It looks like something else. And so paying attention to and just recognizing the difference in the direction of the stroke. So let's see here. So Deborah, hey, how are you? Good to see you out here. So Deborah's asking about the paper, and this is Stonehenge, and it's warm white. The eyebrows are more sparse up here at the inner corner, right here by the glabella. And then they're thicker right in the center, typically. And then they're sparse again on the outer edge. All right. I need to put a little bit of my Herculaneum red inside here. Sharpen that up. Started noticing a problem with my sharpener, just not as effective as it needed to be, just like a few days ago. And it had been some time since I emptied the reservoir. So I tried to do it once to twice a day, something like that, 1 or 2 times a day. And I had forgotten about it, I guess, for a little while. And so it's something to keep in mind, to remember, just to think about. Like, is the reservoir getting full? It can cause some issues once in a while, because you've got some of the wood shavings coming back inside um, the area where the barrel is being sharpened, where those helical blades are rotating, and it can start to create a problem in there. Go ahead and fill this in now that we're getting a little more tonal contrast going on here. Remember, there is a slight tilt going on to this head. So I thought it would help with some context to get the eyebrows in here. We need a little bit more in there to be able to show that. Otherwise, it could look a little odd because of this tilt. We're not seeing the full context of the tilt. And right here, we may need to modify this base edge of the nose just to indicate that this tilt is actually happening. Otherwise, my point is, I'm going to have, an eyebrow up here and then one down here, and it may look odd. I don't have other context clues to allow the viewer to notice that there's a tilt in the head. All right. Now I'm going to add dark flesh. Especially right in the middle. I want that to be very sharp, so I went ahead and raked it across my sandpaper. Hey, Nancy, how are you? Good to see you out here as well. Nancy's over there on YouTube Live. Okay, let me move this a little bit higher. There we go. I didn't realize we didn't have the reference on here. There we go. That may help. Oh, thanks, Nancy. Yeah, I'm doing very well. Thank you. Very well. Okay. I'll scoot this over just a little bit. Yeah, I want to go to the other side. There's a lot of horizontal hair in here. But I've got a darker value that doesn't have a lot of texture of hair right in here. And as this curves over, I've got like this little bit of a curve right here in the collection of some of the eyebrow hairs. Some of the skin showing through as well. So I want to allow for that. But I want to create that curve right there. And then down here, I want to go ahead and fill in some of the darker value right in here. This value should be very similar to this shadow shape that starts at the nose or is continuing into side plane of the nose. All right. So I want to determine when I look at this where the darkest part of that shadow in the eyebrow is going to be. And then everything surrounding that area needs to be slightly lighter. I've already got a couple of areas that I need to come back in there and erase. So we'll do that in just a moment. Okay. Like this small area right here that is slightly darker. I want to make sure I erase that. Come back in there. Fill that in an even distribution of the pigment. More even than it was anyway. If we can do that. Sometimes that's part of the issue is maybe there's some inconsistency in the surface of the paper or something like that. So, that is going to suffice right now for what we want to do. I mean, just leave that alone for right now. So I can come back in here with my burnt sienna and polychromos. So a much softer pencil. This oil-based pencil is a little more pliable in some ways than a luminance pencil. At times, also, it won't adhere to the surface as quickly as a wax-based pencil. So just, different properties and characteristics of pencils. They're all different. They all have their own unique qualities. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm going to use a much darker pencil, but still a more of a middle value. But I'm thinking more about tone or value right now anyway. So right in here in the eyebrows. I'm not going to have anything real bright on this side of the face, like I did over here with the Herculaneum red. I want to use something a little more subtle over here. Okay. There's a spot right over here that I wanted to just sort of clean up just a little bit. It's slightly darker than some of the other areas surrounding it. So I want to make sure that it's not just way too dark. Okay. And then I want to add just a little bit of a context over here for this darker area. It was something I was looking at last time as well. Even though you're in a different part of the drawing, it's still something you should do is look at the other areas that you're not currently working on, or you're not currently drawing in. And, I try to build up the drawing all at the same time, but when it comes down to it, that's impossible. You can't build the drawing up and you can't draw in every area at the same time. This little pencil point can only be in one spot at a time, right? So I think everyone probably knows what I mean by that, though. Building it up at the same time. I'm going layer by layer. So if I use a darker layer, typically, like if I got this pencil in my hand, then I'm going to use it everywhere in the drawing that I need to use it, or that it makes sense using it. So I'm going to move around. I'm just going to stay right there and then keep adding different layers of colors until I bring this to completion and then move to another area. That's the differentiation. We're talking about the process that some like to use, and I don't draw in that way. I try to go layer by layer and move all around the drawing surface area. So I want to come back over here and darken this area up even more. Okay. I keep looking around, seeing if there are other areas. While I've got this pencil in my hand, I want to find other areas that need to be slightly darker right now. There's something that happens on the surface of the paper when you're using Stonehenge, though, that just creates this wonderful surface of all of these colors. You start to get um, the sense of all this refraction of color and light because you can see every color. I know that's not communicating 100% on a live stream like this, especially at 720p resolution. But when you see it in person, and you know what I'm talking about if you're working on your own artwork, you've seen this as well, that when you see it in person, you get to enjoy and experience all those subtle differences in all the layers because of the semi-translucency of the pencils. You can see all of the layers, and it's like one of the only mediums that is semi-transparent. Often you'll talk about that quality, and some that don't understand what colored pencil is, maybe they just paint or something like that, or use some other medium. Um, don't always understand what that means, and so you're not adding anything to the medium to get it to be semi-transparent. Other mediums, yeah, you have to add something else. Like you'll have to add something to thin out oil paint to get it to be semi-translucent. And colored pencils, not that way. Um, the way that they're created, they are not as opaque as many other mediums are naturally. And so that's a great thing, really, in a lot of ways. I mean, there's a lot of advantages um, that we have because of that. All right, let me look around and see if I need to use this dark flesh anywhere else at the moment. I don't think so. Maybe a little bit right there. I used it a little bit over here on this eye, so I think I will use it over here just a little bit. I do have a sense of some of the eyelashes over here, so maybe we will put some of those in over here now. I'm not going to be drawing on this drawing forever. It might seem like I am, but I'm not going to. So I might want to go ahead and start adding some of the details. Before we finish today, too, I do want to fill in this little blank spot right there just to have something right there to look a little more complete. So, direction of eyelashes right here. And it doesn't take much, less is more when you think about eyelashes on the bottom, especially. And the other thing to think about is, nobody's going to be up really, really close to your drawing. At least, they shouldn't be. This is not a drawing that is 3 feet in one direction, so this is very small. Now, I don't know what size monitor you're looking at it on. You might be watching this on something that is very large. And if that's the case, yeah, you're probably seeing it better than I am. Oh, sorry, Nancy. Yeah, the paper is Stonehenge. Sorry about that. Thank you, Deborah. Okay, let's see here. Put some of this back here. Hey, Vicus. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Vicus or Vicus. Thanks for joining over on YouTube Live. Thank you. Okay. Get a little sense of some of the eyelashes here. I don't want to put in as many indications of some of these lashes as I think I see. I don't want that too many. So I want to err on the side of putting too few in, and then I can add more later if I want to. And this is probably, it could be, you could argue that's too many over here on this side. So, oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use my light flesh 10% right here. Just fill that spot in right now. And over here as well. There's a little spot right in here. I want to make sure I grab. And right over here as well. Make sure I get that spot filled in. There we go. I'll fade this into the top part of the cheek right here. So Vicus is asking what paper I use for portrait art. And so this paper is Stonehenge. It's not the paper that I've been using a lot lately, though. What I've been using a lot lately has been Clairefontaine Pastel Matte. It's just such a great surface to work on, very forgiving, and offers a lot of flexibility. You can put lighter colors over dark colors very easily on Pastel Matte. Pastel Matte is, they're not a sponsor. Clairefontaine's not a sponsor or anything like that. It's just a paper I love. It's just a paper I use, gravitate towards. It's a great company, and I just love the product so much. It's nice when the product speaks for itself. When you use a product because of how well it works. Yeah, Nancy's saying best paper ever in her opinion. Pastel Matte is such a good paper. Um, and Strathmore offers a lot of great papers as well. Um, yes, it is expensive. Um, Pastel Matte is, that is. That's what we're talking about there. I think Nancy is. Yeah, it's expensive. Clairefontaine Pastel Matte is, but very worth it. And Strathmore has a lot of great papers as well. Um, Legion paper has a lot of great papers also. No, they don't only have Stonehenge, they have other papers that they offer as well, which is a great thing. So, love that. Strathmore, same way. The paper line is just so huge, so large. All right, so I'm gonna smooth that out right there with my ivory and polychromos. So I can start over here and then use this vertical stroke and then push it into this color that I just laid down. Same way that I do everything to create smooth transitions. I'm going to use overlapping, but more importantly, I'm going to use a consistent vertical or horizontal, just a consistent hatching mark, hatching line. That's the stroke that I'm using. So the mark making is just a line. And if you keep making a line in one direction or even two directions, but in particular one direction, you can save the tooth. And then you move your hand just slightly and you keep going over that same area. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to create an extremely smooth transition, which results in a very smooth skin texture. Okay. And, when you do that, you don't have to sit there and make little tiny circles when you do that. And it becomes just second nature. Okay. And then you can come back in there like I'm doing right now and find spots that you need to fill in. This part right here, though, very early in the process, I don't have a whole lot of buildup. And then later on, I'll probably come back in there with that vertical stroke, just that linear stroke to be able to fill in that part of the tooth. Okay, let's see here. Patricia is over on Facebook asking, so your next project will be showing us how to use pastel mat? If you're talking about a live stream out here, Patricia, um, yeah, probably, I can't set that in stone yet, but probably, I'm probably going to use pastel mat. I'm not 100% sure at this point if that's what I'm going to use on the next project or not, but I think it would make sense because, um, my last workshops that I've been doing, and by the way, we've been doing workshops um, each month, I believe, for several months now. I think I started back in, I want to say April, something like that. And we've been working on those every single month. So they're just a lot of fun. So I want to put a reminder out here to you if you've not seen this yet, or if you've not signed up to, there's still some time left if the workshop doesn't fill up. So we're getting close to capacity, but there are some spots left. And I will put a link here in the chat in case you're interested. Go out here and grab it for you guys. I know many of you have already signed up, so we will see you in a few weeks. I can't wait for this workshop. It's going to be so fun. I've not ever done a workshop like this. These live Zoom workshops are just a great time, and you learn so much in a condensed amount of time. So there's that advantage. All right. We'll put this in the chat here. There's the link to get registered. And again, if you are part of there you go. If you're part of Member Circle, then you get the coupon. And if you're not part of Member Circle over there in Monthly Sharpener, then you can join today. And all it takes is signing up, grabbing this workshop. That's worth it. You get $100 off of the workshop if you decide to do that today. And then you can cancel even tomorrow if you wanted to. Chances are you won't want to do that because you get early release video raw cut podcasts every week. And you also get the Sharpen Up skill. You get challenges over there, video exclusives, the community interaction. I can't say enough about that. I think that's a lot of the reason why people are over there, uh, interacting with other artists that are like minded. Well, thanks, Deborah. Yeah, that was a lot of fun doing that, doing that, baby. I was cracking up the first day because Deborah was saying, our baby's been, she said something about our baby's been eating a lot of carrots because the skin was looking very orange in the beginning. Um, but we worked that out. We didn't have a background in there. There's the drawing of the baby. Let me remove the workshop information there, but there's our drawing of baby Luke. And yeah, at the beginning, it's like it's hard to visualize what that tonal um, harmony is going to do to the appearance of the skin. And what it actually does is it makes it more pale. So going darker and more saturated with our colors early on actually helps us to create a pale skin tone later on. And then, of course, getting that tonal range in there with regard to the shirt and the background. And you've got all those darker values, which helps the skin tone to look much, much lighter when you do that. So, all right. I think I put that link in the chat there. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and stop today. And I think we've got, you know, more progress. um, it's, this project's lasted a long time. I keep wanting to, work on it whenever we're not doing the live stream. And maybe I will do that. And then just record it and get it out here then so you guys you can see the rest of the process. And that may be a good way to go. It's a slow process. I love the texture and the surface of Stonehenge paper. The look is just phenomenal, but it's a very slow process. The technique that I use, I do know some artists that use a faster technique on it, but I think the look when you're done though is just something that is just fantastic. All right, guys, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining today. Thanks for being on here, and we will see you next week.